Hi everyone, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Justin, and believe it or not, the Leafs are actually already through 5 games in their 2021 campaigns. So I figured I would just make a quick recap on my first impressions on those first 5 games. The Leafs are 3 wins, 2 losses in those first games, which is nothing to be too concerned about, especially this early on, but not exactly the record we would have expected from a team projected to come first in this division. Due to recency bias, I guess the game that I want to touch on most here is last night's game against the Edmonton Oilers, because that seems to be the biggest outlier from the small sample that we've had this season as far as game style. That game was not high-flying offense, which everyone, I think, predicted it to be. That was a very shut-down, defensive, slow, and quite boring hockey game. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think that that was an excellent game for the Leafs to have to face in the first 5 games of the season. It's going to show that the Leafs need to be able to adapt their game style over the course of this season against their limited amount of opponents to be able to shut those teams down. And you know what that game reminded me most of? Playoff hockey. In playoff hockey, you're not always to expect high-flying offense and constant chances. You're looking at teams really trying to shut you down. And you know who did that last year? The Columbus Blue Jackets, where the Toronto Maple Leafs failed to score in a number of games in that series, and the Columbus Blue Jackets did a fantastic job shutting us down, and we couldn't generate anything. So the fact that we were already able to get one of those games in this season and hang in there pretty well and play a very solid defensive game is a good sign for us. The thing that concerned me most, even though Edmonton did a fantastic job defending and especially clogging that neutral zone, was that the Leafs just could not generate any offense, did not generate quality scoring opportunities throughout this game. And I get that that's the game style that both teams were trying to play. They were both looking to shut it down defensively, not generate much, and limit the other team's opportunities. And when you're going against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, that should be your game plan. But when you do that, if you're expecting to be a top team in this league, you have to be able to shut them down and generate quality scoring chances in the same game. Now, I'm not talking about a 7-0 blowout where, you're able to shut them down and create no scoring opportunities for them, but you're able to tuck as many goals as you can. But I would expect a little bit more as far as quality scoring chances in a game like this, just because we have so much offensive power, they should be able to generate something. And you can make the argument that Edmonton should be able to do the same with the likes of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on their team, and I would argue that they did. I mean, it wasn't much more, but they were able to capitalize on their chances. The power play, I think, is an area that we really struggled on in this game. When there's a game where no scoring chances are being created, when you get power plays, that's a time that you really need to capitalize, and the Leafs just weren't able to do so. But overall, the fact that we were able to play a low-scoring game with low shot opportunities and really shut it down defensively and really give Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl no space and no opportunity at all, I would call that game a success. In the future, I would like to see us come out on top because those are games that we're going to see in the playoffs. But to have one this early on in the season and with such an outlier as far as our game strategy from the rest of the games in this season, I thought we handled it pretty well. Now, as far as the rest of the games in the season so far, I mean, John Tavares, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, even Auston Matthews, even though he's not showing up on the score sheet as much as we would have expected, those guys are being dominant. They are appearing every game. And thus far, although it's only been 5 games, they've been consistent, which is the first time I've been able to say that in a season so far. Consistency from those 4 is going to be the key to success this year. I mean, if there's any amount of time in this shortened season where those guys take even 5 games off, I mean, that's going to kill us and have huge implications in overall standings. We're only 3-2, and those 4 are on the top of their games, so we need them to continue that as long as possible. Some other notable standouts for me, I think Alex Kerfoot, I don't know what he's done in the offseason, but his skating has really developed. He's super fast. He's all over the puck, and I really like him on that third line, especially him with Zach Hyman, who, I mean, Zach Hyman does not take games off. He is the best player on the Leafs as far as tenacity and effort, and he's been fantastic. And the combination of him and Kerfoot and even Ilya Mikheyev, that's been a terrific line, and I'm looking forward to seeing them down the stretch as well. Defensively, outside of that one game, TJ Brodie has played great for us. I mean, he's played really well defensively, and he's been very quiet in doing so as well, which is a good sign. I mean, we're not looking for more players that you notice them every shift, because that's what a Jake Gardiner was. You noticed him every shift, but half of those times that you were noticing him were giveaways and bad plays. So TJ Brodie being very quiet and very good at what he's doing. And then the goaltending situation, Freddie has bounced back. He's played 2 consecutive great games. I would give another start soon to Jack Campbell, just to, again, load management and keep Freddie having in the back of his mind that, you know, my job isn't safe. But he's been playing great, and I really like what I've seen out of him since those bad couple starts to start the season. And it's funny because Justin Holl is a player that I really thought that he wasn't playing up to his potential in the start of the season, and then I look at the stat sheet and he's got 4 assists already and he's leading the league amongst defensemen. So good on Justin Holl for getting on the scoreboard. I'd like to see the Holl-Muzzin line really become more of a shutdown line. I think they have had too many errors in their own zones, so I'd like to see them pick that up and really show that they can be a line that we can rely on for shutdown minutes. Overall, from the first 5 games of the season, I've liked what I've seen. We are going to need to clean up a lot of areas in our game, of course, but if we can play like the game against Winnipeg or the game against Ottawa or even the game against Montreal, those are games that are going to show that we can end up at the top of this division. And if we can start playing like the game against Edmonton with the defensive style and still come out with the win in those games, that's going to be absolutely massive when it comes to playoff time and showing that we can play those tight, boring, slow, defensive, clogged games and still come out with the win. So let me know your thoughts on what you've seen and what you've liked out of the first 5 games of this season. We play Edmonton once again tomorrow, so that'll be an exciting rematch, hopefully a little bit more entertaining to watch. But lots of games to continue. I'm thinking I might make a video every 5 games or so, you know, the Mike Babcock 5-game stint, just to give my thoughts on those 5 games that have just passed. So look out for more of those. And in the meantime, if you want to click like and subscribe, I'll be making more content along the way as well. Thanks so much for watching.